Hello dear viewer, MurdochX here. I recently played Star Wars Battlefront for the first time and I really enjoyed it, so I went ahead and picked up Star Wars Battlefront 2. First things first, EA sucks, and I haven't played the newest Battlefront game on PS4 because it looks like an absolute disaster. Also because I'm rarely willing to pay for DLC or microtransactions. The last DLC I remember paying for was the extra maps in Halo 3, and that's because I played the crap out of that game. The extra maps were worth the price. But enough of that rant, let's move on to the good Battlefront 2. One of the strange things about going back and reviewing old games is that I can compare them to games that have come out since. Star Wars Battlefront 2 reminds me of a handful of games, but most of them were released after this title. MAG is the first one that comes to mind, and just like Star Wars Battlefront 2, the servers for that game are also shut down. Halo came out before this, and the vehicle systems feel similar, and that's not bad company. What I'm trying to say is that much of this game feels like many of the best titles out there. Then again, it's not in the top 100 PlayStation 2 games on Metacritic either. It has some problems, so let's jump into it. First, this game was created by Pandemic Studios. They had loads of great games under their belt like Destroy All Humans, Army Men RTS, Mercenaries, and Full Spectrum Warrior. I say had because in 2010 Electronic Arts shut them down, just 2 years after purchasing them. The one bright side to this whole mess would be this video where some of the Pandemic employees full-on office space this printer. That's nice to see. That was EA's printer. The graphics in this game look nice, although I did have one major problem. Some of the stage sections are just too dark and there's no way to fix this. There's no in-game brightness setting. In this stage I had bad guys right in front of me. I could see them on the map, but I just had to kind of fire into the dark and hope for the best. There's an aim assist, so that helped a little bit, but man, this was a big problem for me. I admit this game was designed to be played on a CRT television, which would have been brighter, but this is pretty bad. At least they had an invert Y-axis option. Always invert Y-axis. An improvement that this game had over its successor was the storyline. In between stages you get updates on what's happening in the universe and what your role will be in fixing it. I like that this is in here, but it was confusing me. I have no idea if I was the good guys or the bad guys the entire time I was playing. At one point I was taking orders from Darth Vader, and at another I was controlling Yoda. Still, this is nice to have. The cutscenes are fun, and also, you totally get to play as Yoda. Speaking of Yoda, there are several story characters you get to play as throughout the game with unique abilities. Most of them just kinda duke it out with their lightsabers, but that's still pretty rad. I was disappointed by how flimsy they felt though. Since lightsaber fighting is up close and personal, the enemies will be firing at you with their guns, and it's easy to die playing as these guys. I actually feel guilty for letting Yoda die. So be careful with these squishy little Jedi. They don't last long, and that's a shame. On the plus side, it's not like I had to spend $100 on loot boxes to unlock him. Another addition to this game that wasn't in the original is space battles. You get to jump into some classic Star Wars ships and fight in space, but the controls are whack. There were some odd decisions here. Accelerate and brakes are on the right analog stick. Well, except starships don't have brakes. You know what I mean. I don't have a lot to say about these space fights because I wasn't enjoying them. Not my cup of tea. Hopping out of a ship to smash things in an enemy spaceship is pretty sweet though. Having said that, I enjoyed the planet-side battles the most. When I first jumped into this game, I tried out the training. It was a solid tutorial, but it didn't cover any of the spaceship stuff, so after I was done I jumped into the next thing on the list, Space Overview, which is just a short video. Maybe they ran out of time to get this game on shelves, so they didn't make another tutorial? I don't know, but this video is weird and it doesn't fit. The next option is Rise of the Empire. This is what I played, and it seems to be the main aspect of the solo game. Here we are dropped into dangerous situations and start the battle by picking a role to play. Do we want to go in with a well-rounded trooper? They can move quickly enough and have the best gun for well-rounded fighting and have some sticky grenades as well. Should we play as the sniper type? No, don't do it. It is almost never useful. And that's my biggest gripe about this game. In the single player portion, most of these jobs don't help. I could take that sniper and try to pick off the enemies, but the mission is always to get to the next part of the map, and if you, the player, don't do it, the AI certainly won't either. This also goes for the engineer, another fantastic support type that is difficult to play in single player because if you're not leading, your AI teammates won't do anything useful. I wish that I had played this game when it was an online multiplayer game. I also wish that I had played the PC version, which allowed 64 player battles as opposed to PS2's 24 player max. Because most of these roles aren't useful in single player and multiplayer doesn't exist, I'm going to go ahead and skip talking about it. Stick to troopers, heavy troopers, and the occasional hero throughout the game, otherwise you're likely just wasting your time. If you do pick another job type like sniper, just make sure to stay near the spot where you can change your unit type. Snipe a few guys, then go back to become a trooper. Oh, and there's vehicles. These are awesome. They can be a bit finicky, but I think that that's kind of a good thing. They all play different and have a unique feel. Jump into a vehicle and just go nuts if you get the chance. Good times. The map was another thing that I didn't like about this game. The minimap is fine, but there was one point where I was chasing a ship and I couldn't find it for the life of me because it was too far away and the minimap wasn't useful. Pulling up the big map was a pain and not very helpful either. This only happened to me once though. The stage design is one of the greatest parts of this game. These are awesome. There are multiple routes and various tactics depending on which way you decide to go. Make sure to keep an eye out for the little robots that give you health and ammo though. They're scattered around in some unusual places. You'll need them if you're on a good run. The objectives to complete in each phase of these stages are also amazing. Whether it's destroying some turrets or taking control of a command post, I had a lot of fun. The control schemes in this game are a little bit counterintuitive though. Landing ships in space battles is a bit tricky using the default controls. One of the weirdest decisions though is mapping reload to the down button on the D-pad. You have to stop running with the analog stick to press the reload button. That's not a good decision, but there are other control schemes. I always want to trust the game developers and I try to learn their default controls first, but this is a game I'll have to make some adjustments to the next time I play. This game did come out on several platforms. The PlayStation 2 version has the highest rating, but the Xbox version is only 1 point behind it. Honestly, I think that the Xbox version was probably a better game. It could handle 32 players on multiplayer and had some free DLC. There were additional maps that could be purchased as well, but they're no longer available. Lost DLC, man. That stuff freaks me out.
Not retired. Just, you know, putting it back on the shelf. I'll play it again some other time.
Now let's consult with the Murdoch X MeSRB rating board. Let's talk about the bad. First, the game is too dark. Come on, this was 2005. Let us adjust the brightness. Weird controls. The AI relies on the player for everything important. Some of the jobs like engineer are almost useless in the single player mode. The worst part of this game is the lack of multiplayer servers, but it has been over 12 years since this game came out. The good. This game has fantastic graphics. The sound is also great. Amazing stages. They're big, wonderful, and interesting. There's a fun variety in the playstyle. The story stuff between stages looks great and it really pulls you into the Star Wars universe. So, my MeSRB rating would be a 10 if there were multiplayer, but there's not. It's 2018 and without that aspect of the game, this is a 7 out of 10. This game has so much wasted potential for the solo player, and that really is too bad.
Oh man, you did terrible again. You didn't catch me again, did you? I was right here. You didn't find me, because you suck.
Oh man, that Paper Murdoch. He sure is a jerk, isn't he? It's terrible. So like this video, subscribe, so you can watch more of him. But hopefully you enjoyed that video. Admittedly, I'm more of a Star Trek guy than a Star Wars guy. But that's alright. But they don't make the best Star Trek games. So subscribe. And like. And comment. But mostly subscribe. Click on the video. Right here. It'll be a fun video. Maybe. Have you deserved a fun video? Be honest. Alright, you can click it. I don't care. Go ahead and click it anyways. You probably didn't earn it though. That's terrible. Okay.